You know the feeling, the racing heart, the inability to focus on anything else, the absolute rush of a brand new romantic relationship. In the 1970s, psychologist Dorothy Tenoff named this intense, early phase of romance limerence. It is a state defined by racing, intrusive thoughts, and the total idealization of a new partner. While it feels like magic, limerence is actually a measurable neurobiological condition. If you look at the brain chemistry of someone in the early stages of romantic love, their serotonin profile closely mirrors that of a patient diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. This initial peak represents a transient, chemically induced obsession, a biological state that rewires our perception of reality for a limited window of time. Eventually, the chemical storm settles, the obsessive phase ends, and couples are left wondering where the spark went. To understand why this happens, we have to look at a process called habituation. Take a look at this graph tracking our brain's dopamine response. When we are exposed to a new stimulus, we get a sharp spike. But with repeated exposure, the brain learns to suppress that response, and the line flattens out. Now apply that mechanism to human attraction. If you play your favorite song on loop, you eventually stop hearing it. Similarly, as months and years pass in a relationship, a familiar partner naturally stops triggering those intense reward centers. This creates a difficult paradox. Culturally, we expect to maintain lifelong passion, while our biology actively numbs us to the familiar. This numbing effect is so powerful that evolutionary biologists have a specific name for what happens when we break it: the Coolidge effect. It describes how faded sexual interest is instantly reawakened by a novel partner. The name comes from an anecdote about President Calvin Coolidge and his wife visiting a farm, where they noted a single rooster eagerly mating with dozens of different hens. Researchers see this across the mammalian world. A male rat will eventually lose all interest in a familiar mate, but introduce a novel mate to the enclosure, and its arousal instantly spikes right back to its peak. Humans follow the exact same pattern. Clinical studies show that our arousal drops when we view the same erotic stimuli over time, but immediately rebounds when we see someone new. Feeling the pull of variety or the dullness of routine simply confirms that your mammalian brain is functioning exactly as evolution intended. This raises a massive question. If our neurochemistry demands variety, how do we reactivate those dopamine-rich reward centers without changing partners? Researchers led by Dr. Amy Muse point to a framework called self-expansion theory. The premise is straightforward. Injecting highly novel, unfamiliar activities into your existing relationship can reignite that early passion. We can map this on a matrix plotting familiarity against arousal. Doing chores or watching TV lands in the bottom right quadrant, highly familiar, low arousal. To trigger self-expansion, push into the top left quadrant, engaging in experiences that are highly arousing and entirely unfamiliar. Maintaining long-term passion requires pulling the unfamiliar into your daily routine. When you do this, self-expansion acts as a biological loophole in your brain's reward circuitry. By tackling an unpredictable challenge together, whether that's navigating a foreign city without a map or taking a difficult physical class, you shatter the daily routine. You see your partner with a renewed gaze. Navigating that shared mystery tricks your nervous system, flooding the brain with the same dopamine rush experienced on a first date. Excitement in the brain relies on processing new information, regardless of whether that information comes from a new person or a familiar one. The primal drive for passion is a hardwired, universal biological reflex, but maintaining that passion is a learned cultural practice. Lasting love relies on a proactive, deliberate effort to discover the unknown together, far removed from the idea of romance as a passive occurrence. The honeymoon phase merely goes dormant until a novel stimulus wakes it up. Satisfying your brain's evolutionary craving for novelty is a matter of replacing your routine, not your partner.